I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world, and that's our job. Done.
Tell me why. Why can't we live together? Tell me why. Why can't we live together? Everybody wants to live together. Why can't we live together?
Hello, all you melanated beauties. Sun-kissed by God's lips. This is Coy with your black tea sip. I'm sipping power to pour you the truth. Go grab your cup. Let's fill it up.
Hello. Welcome to Black Tea Sip Show. I am Lola Wilson, filling in for your amazing host, Coy. And today I brought with me my client. So my name is Lola Wilson, and I am a publicist, and I specialize in PR for professional athletes. And so we will be talking about a whole bunch of cool stuff. And I have my very first client over almost, is it 7 years?
My daughter's 8.
8 years, because she was 5 months when you signed on. So 8 years, eight amazing learning years. I have none other than 2-time Super Bowl champion, Texas A&M rock star, and business guru, Bethel Johnson. What's good?
They got the clap for me.
So yeah, he's definitely more popular than me, but that's because I do a good job I'm good at my job, right?
Yeah.
Say it. Amen. So we have a lot of fun stuff to talk about. Today we're going to talk about sports, politics, relationships. My New Year's resolution this year is actually to be intentional in dating. So Bethel has been giving me a lot of dating pointers because he has been married to the amazing Heather Johnson for
12 years.
12 amazing years. She is
I was about to say 14, but we've been together 14.
Okay, they've been together 14. They've been married 12. I'm here for it. So, I mean, anyone standing that long probably has some good advice. So, let's get into it. How are you, Mr. Johnson?
I'm good, as always.
As always. Okay. I will have to give a disclaimer with Bethel. He is definitely unapologetic. Very opinionated. And
I wouldn't say opinionated. I would say fact.
Okay.
Driven.
Very unapologetic about his facts. So,
I
am. So we're going to get into, right now we are in the NFL playoffs. They have 18 games this year instead of their regular. So
no, they have 17. They have 18 weeks, but they got 17 games.
Yes, 18 weeks, 17 games. And so we're coming up on the fact that there are there's a lot of dispute and conversation in what's going on with the NFL. I want to first bring up, so it's been recognized that a lot of NFL players were fired last week.
Well, the coaches.
The coaches, yeah. Coaches.
Some players will be fired after this last game.
So, yeah, a lot of coaches have been let go. The Chicago Bears, their GM, and their head coach. The head coach at Miami, which was very shocking because he did do more than what they expected. Vikings, and then the coach at Texas, Houston Texans, has been let go. So basically, The concern is, out of all these teams, there's only one black coach.
Well, that's amazing. I mean, it's not amazing. It's not shocking. It should not be shocking, right? That's not an entity that that we control. So we can't control. We don't control the overseers of the sport, in that regard, because they don't have any, black ownership. So you're not going to have, that landscape looking that, that way. The player, even though the players make up 70 to 75% of the league, they don't reflect it in the leadership part of it.
Well, I think the concern is because the NFL has publicly been supportive of the Black Lives Matter movement, even publicly apologized how they handled the situation with, come on.
Oh, Colin?
Colin Kaepernick. And so I feel like sometimes when people are publicly supportive, they're still only checking a box. Like with the Houston Texans, they hired this guy and he was only there for 1 year. Yeah. And now they're firing him. Something just don't sound right.
I mean, you think about it though, like, it's a lot of stuff that's going on with the game itself. The game is changing, but at the same time, we're not in control. So, like, I understand it. And the issue that I'm really having is them pushing Kellen Moore out as a head coach over somebody like Eric Bieniemy, who has proven himself in the league time and time again with the Kansas City Chiefs. I had Bieniemy when I was in Minnesota. Good dude, good coach. I just think they just trying to. What makes Kellen Moore ready, right? And he's being exposed right now. I tell people all the time, he's been exposed right now. I don't care what nobody say. He's not ready to be a head coach. He'll be no different than my boy Matt Patricia. I love Matt Patricia. He was the coolest coach I dealt with. One of the coolest coaches that I dealt with when I was in New England. But he just wasn't a head coach. His personality is not a head coach personality, and neither is Kellen Moore's. But they trying to make him a head coach over. No one in Dallas media market even pushes Eric Bieniemy. They always pushing Kellen Moore. When I listen to the radio, Kellen Moore, he is not that dude. I'm just telling y'all that right now. He's not ready to command a team. I'm sorry.
And I think it takes more than just knowing X's and O's. You have to have the characteristics of a leader to be a head coach. And
you do.
I think one thing that African American head coaches bring, I'm not saying all of them are ready or all of them should be a head coach, is there's some relatability to the majority of the team, which makes this so shocking.
I mean, true. I mean, I understand that. I mean, as a former player, I've always wondered why it wasn't, the landscape wasn't matching the leadership. It just, like, the leadership just was different. Like all the coaches were white, all the, the majority of the staff everywhere was didn't look like you, but they all had control of your destiny. They all had control of, how you, moved in that organization. So, I can't wait to the day to actually reflect that, because it makes sense. It makes sense. You're more relatable. Like when I dealt with coaches, like Tomlin was one of my coaches in Minnesota. Bieniemy was there. I forgot Joe's last name, but he was there too. So we had three, black coaches on the staff. I don't even like using the word black. Why am I using that? Indigenous coaches on the staff. I had those three, and they were all cool, and we were all relatable in that sense. But when it came to my own head coach, Brad Childress, we didn't relate. Okay. We didn't relate because I would tell him something, and he'll just go completely opposite of it.
Mm-hmm. So with that being said, we also have seen a lot transpire in the NFL with, like, mental health. Here recently, Antonio Brown falls out with a head coach during a game, pulls off his jersey, and everyone's like, he's done. And he's done. And
we'll see.
How could he do this to
we'll see.
A quarterback who has brought him into his own? Tom Brady brought him into his own home. This is like his third chance. This is his 20th chance, for lack of better words. And now we see him in another light. And so, with that being, I know that the head coach of Tampa Bay actually was the offensive coordinator for him with the Steelers.
Arians, I
think
don't
so.
remember.
Yeah, and so they never really gelled well in the beginning, but they brought him on because this is Tom Brady really wanted him, and he has produced. And so during the game, there was a disagreement, and now he's no longer a Buccaneer. And do you think that's more so of him being defiant or more mental health? What do you think about that?
I mean, it's always, in my mind, it's going to register as mental health issues simply because as a football player, I told somebody this in the beginning, and I know I posted it on Instagram because I had a conversation with one of my business partners, and he said, man, you know, why is it that, you know, people really care about the plight of the mental health of players? I said, because no one cries for the gladiator. The gladiator's there to entertain you. The gladiator's there to perform. They don't want to feel for the gladiator. They want him to entertain them. And so when guys act out unaddressed mental issues like that of Antonio Brown, you know, people will chalk it up as he's crazy, and it's not that. And I can tell people this for certainty. If they say 99% of the guys' brains that they have examined, you know, after they died, 99% of them had CTE, right? Some of them had stage 3. Aaron Hernandez had stage 3, which is one of the worst cases that worst stages you can be in is stage 3, and he was 27 years old, but he was walking around playing a sport normally, you know, but those actions start to surface because he had deeper issues that he didn't understand what they were. And so, like I said, I don't believe, you know, people, they don't care until somebody's acting out, man. But it's a mental health issue with him.
But acting out, it's not a black and white issue, right?
No.
It's not, he just is, you know, rich and hard to get along with. It's more so that there is other things going on and no one's listening.
No one is listening, and I honestly don't believe the NFL is taking it that serious because they paid the horrible settlement when it came to the concussion part of it, and guys don't even talk about it anymore. See, that kind of went under they kind of swept that under the rug. But at this, if you look at it, after they swept all that under the rug, said the game is safer and is not safe. You know, they try to have people who don't even play the sport, don't even understand the nuances of the game, determining how dudes tackle to say, well, this is a safer way to do this or this or that. But that doesn't protect the guys out there on the field at all. Because if they were protecting the guys, they wouldn't have 17 games.
Right. And to that point, even with the lawsuit, many of my players, including you, the testing that goes through to even like qualify you for that settlement is unrealistic. Okay, unrealistic. So we do have a caller.
Oh, I didn't know we got down
I
like this
didn't
on
know
this show.
that either, but this is so cool.
Next time, give me a heads up.
So we do have a caller. We are winging it our best way, and I think we're doing a good job so far. What do you think?
I'm always gonna shine no matter where you put me at.
Okay. Well. Okay. Oh, okay. They hung up.
How do you know when they calling, man? You gotta be able to tell me.
I'll let you know.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we did have a caller. Caller, please call back. But based on what you were saying, the amount of testing that goes into them even being approved for the settlement is extreme. And not only that, the attorneys that are like ambulance chasers, chasing these players, trying to get, because once you hire the attorney, you know, you got to pay the attorney out of the settlement. So if they say you're getting $1 million, you may walk away with just like $500,000, like half of that, based on
The lawyers was
the
taking
lawyer.
33%.
That's ridiculous.
They was taking 33%.
And they will, you know, I mean, everyone has to eat, and I get that, but at the same time, the intense testing, medical testing, and then who approves the testing? So like the NFL approves the doctors in the testing that is being tested on the athlete in order to approve them for the settlement. So that's
it was a sham from the start. Honestly, I went through the testing. They denied me when it's evident. Like what they wanted you to come in there looking like was Muhammad Ali, right? For them to determine if anything was wrong with you. You had to go in there like Muhammad Ali for them to say, oh, there's visible signs of something that's going on that was caused by the game. I mean, I was knocked out on Monday night my rookie year.
Yeah.
So that's on tape. That ain't nothing that I have to deny or anything like that. So it's like, this is on tape. So that's there. And then they asked, as my wife was sitting there while I was explaining to the doctor, whoever he was at the time, laying out all the stuff that I went through in that process, and they still end up denying me.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
I'm talking about knocked out to the point where I didn't even know to this day how I got home.
Oh, that's intense. That's really intense.
You know what I mean? So it's like, how can you say?
Right. And I think sometimes we look at the money that players make, and so we're like, get over it. You're making more than the average American.
Wealthy people got mental issues too.
Yeah. And the reality is the money, in as much as it's how much money they make, that has nothing to do with the sacrifice that's made. And I'm not saying that they curing cancer and making the world a better place, but they are putting themselves at risk for our own entertainment, and sometimes we have to look at that.
Gladiators. That's our gladiators.
So yeah, so it's a lot going on, especially everything that's going on with it being a wild card weekend. A lot of players, of course, every Dallas Cowboy believes that they're going to the Super Bowl.
Every Dallas Cowboy fan,
yeah,
really believes that.
I don't believe that one bit. They have a terrible coach. Terrible.
Oh, excuse me. Lola said it.
I did.
Lola said it.
He makes bad calls in clutch situations. I don't trust it.
Well, I don't like the Cowboys because of their fans. It's really that. I'm for real. It's really that. My wife's a diehard Cowboy fan for no reason. She's from Houston. Diehard Cowboy fan, and it's just their fans are so delusional. They don't know how to live in reality, and so that's what I have an issue with. I don't believe they're going to the Super Bowl unless something miraculous happened or something conspiratory happened. They conspire to get them in there somehow.
Well, defense definitely has to show up. Everyone has to show up in this game. They're playing the 49ers. It's a split decision in Vegas. Who's going to win? So it's a 50-50.
If Vegas moving it like that, that means San Francisco
might have a chance. So, yeah. And I feel like the Cowboys have to understand nobody's scared of them anymore. Like, you're not the 1992-93 Super Bowl champions. Nobody is scared of you guys.
Nah. They've been all talk for the last, 20 plus years.
Yeah. And then, L.A. Raiders. Matthew Stafford is from Dallas. He went to Highland
the Rams.
Rams.
He's a loser. He don't win. I'm just put it like that. He got all that talent around him, and they blew a 17-point lead last week. You can't. I have an issue with that. I'm sorry. You're just not a winner. You can't close out like that.
I agree. He was with the Lions with Megatron for so long, and we still didn't see anything happen.
Nope.
So, I definitely feel like my expectations of them are simple as you get what you get and you see it. But yeah, so it's a lot going on for Wild Card Weekend, and who's going to show up and who's going to really, play well. They always say now that, November, December, will show you who are the real teams. Mm-hmm. So,
the season really starts in November.
Yeah. So, we're not ruling out anyone, but we're definitely having better expectations. So, we're going to take a quick break.
We are ruling out the Cowboys, though.
I just say, hey.
And I'm being honest with you. I'm bandwagon. So if they win, I'm going to act like Called it the whole time. I'm a bandwagon fan.
I'm just gonna be shocked. And
no, I'm gonna ride with him just like
I'm
gonna ride with him like I believed in him the whole time. I promise you. I'm bandwagon like that.
Yeah, and then I think the Bills play the Patriots in 2-degree weather. Jesus, keep us out. I mean, that is some cold weather.
Yeah, we'll finish that conversation after this break.
Okay, bye.
Nourished skin is healthy skin. Simply Ardor skincare products provides luxurious nourishment for your body. Indulge in rich scrubs and body butters and top it off with our sensational and unique aromatic lines of sprays and roll-on fragrances. It's simple and lovely. Simply Ardor. Love is real. Just spread it.
Do you want to find a stable job in a growing field? IT jobs such as network systems administrators, cybersecurity, programming, cloud, and computer systems analyst are expected to increase 25% by 2022. Texas Premier Technology Institute offers training for top certifications such as CompTIA, Cisco, and Microsoft in less than 12 weeks. And if you're unemployed or underemployed, you may qualify for free tuition. Contact TPTI at 1-888-490-TPTI or check them out on the web at tpti.us.
Back, and we are finishing up our conversation about sports. We did have a caller. I don't know what happened to the caller. Hopefully they'll call us in. What's cool is please give us a call, ask questions. Yes, so ask questions.
What's the number so I can tell them? 214-556-6239.
So, okay, so the crazy thing about what I do is I am a publicist, and I specialize in public relations for professional athletes, but I also work in politics.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess one would say I usually do community engagement and outreach, which is consulting when it comes to African American communities, faith-based organizations,
indigenous communities.
Communities.
Thank you.
And faith-based communities. And so people ask me, like, how does that go together? Like, what does that look like? Well, LeBron James has a school in Ohio, Akron. He had to know the city council before he built that school. And so what's happening now during the pandemic, having to be in one place, we are recognizing how politics really kind of works aligned with our everyday lives. And in sports, a lot of my players, they do have nonprofits and very high-profile business ventures. And how those things work is you can't get around politics. So here in Dallas County and Tarrant County, we are about to embark on an election season. So we're in election season. Mm-hmm. It's not presidential, but it's still very important because we're voting for judges. We're voting for city council. We're voting for county commissioners. A lot of things that we are unaware of. And so how that coincides is even with Bethel, he has an organization called the Black Business Club, and having them come out and speak and things of that nature. So Bethel.
Which I want to change the name of.
Okay, he's going to change the name.
I probably am.
So, with that being said, do you understand, like, what are your thoughts in this political realm right now and what's going on?
In what regard? Because there's a lot of stuff happening politically that, we kind of just, we're kind of burying our heads on a lot of it. Like, a lot of things are being politicized, and it's important that I used to didn't believe in the voting thing. You know that, right?
Right.
And I kind of still don't. But I feel like on a local level where you have some control and some power, then I feel like it's important on those levels because that's a direct impact on you, versus, more federal. So.
Right. So the local level is more important. And I always say, like, with the judicial races coming up, I'm voting on a family court judge.
Hey guys, vote for family court judges, bro. I'm telling you, vote for the family court judges. Man, I'm telling you, get the person that you want in there that's going to look out for you, bro, because family court is not for men. I'm telling y'all that right now.
Oh, my God.
You lose 95% of the time you walk in that court. Family court is not for men. Find you some judges that's going to defend you, fellas. Go
Have your
vote.
back. Well, and there are some judges on the bench that actually, have put programs in place for if someone owes in child support. I don't really know the logistics of that, but like sending a father to jail because he owes child support does not help him.
It's counterproductive for the family,
Right.
period.
Right.
The child suffers more if you take the father out the child's life.
Right.
You think by punishing the father, saying, well, I'm gonna send him to jail. So he goes to jail for not paying child support. Then he gets out. How he gonna get a job to even pay child? It's all a game, man. That's why I hate it.
And so with that being said, I was going to say that many people that have to go, even though I'm voting for the family court judge, many people who do go to family court are not voters. They're probably registered voters, but not voters. And it's a shame that they don't even know their power because they know the law better, than me. I have a cousin called me to take her to court because she found out her baby daddy got a raise and she wanted that 3%. Had no idea you could do that. Didn't know what court, administered that. But she did, and I want to say she's never voted, but she's a registered voter. And that's the alarming thing. And I think this is why there is such a disconnect with our community in voting is because the messaging is not simplified. It's so complex that we don't feel like it identifies with us or resonates with us. So what do you think?
I think for us, I'm not speaking for everybody in the entire indigenous community. Mm-hmm. But I think our experience in this country has kind of disheartened us when it comes to voting. We can see that there hasn't been anything done on our end. We give everybody the vote, nothing happens. So I think we're kind of starting to see the game for what it really is, and I think people are waking up to that. And for me, again, I hadn't voted since 08.
Oh, Jesus.
I voted for Barack the first time, but he didn't fool me the second time. So, but I understand the system. So once you understand the system, you understand what moves the system and what doesn't. And ironically, in a supposed democracy, the majority don't win. It just doesn't win like that. It's supposed to, but if you got electoral college, how in the world can you be a democracy? It just doesn't make sense to me. Hadn't made sense to me since 1997, just for the record.
Oh, wow. Well, our vote does count. I believe that.
How?
And I believe,
what does it change? Okay, put it like this. What has it changed for our community, honestly?
Well, I think it goes beyond voting, though. You have to hold people accountable, too. So, yes, you're voting, but then after that, you hold them accountable. And when you're holding people accountable, that is when they can work on your behalf. We can't just sit back and be, silent.
That's why I understand that. While on a local level, you can probably hold people accountable.
Yes, you can hold people more accountable on a local level.
When you have, y'all lined up and voted for your mans, so. How's that working out? The Asian community say, "Hey, Asian hate." Immediately, something happened.
And why do you think that is?
Because Barack Obama told us on one of those talk shows, Jimmy Fallon or Jimmy Kimmel, he said in 2000, it was like 2012, and he mentioned on that show what moves Washington. He said, he talked about the vote, but he said what moves Washington is money. That's what he said, and I never forgot that.
So
never forgot that.
If their bill is passed, what do you think that means?
Money.
Okay.
Everybody's jumping us, is what I'm telling you. Everybody's jumping, but we the ones that they depend on to vote them into these places but they jump when they get in those places. They jump. Everybody else jumps us for whatever.
Ahead of it.
Yeah.
So they depend on our vote, but they don't put our priorities. They don't make our demands a priority. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because our demands don't come with a check.
And so, do you think that's fair, or?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine. If we spend over $1 trillion, we spend damn near $2 trillion in just merch. Why can't we just pool our resources together and put something behind, some legislation? Put some money behind some legislation.
So, do you think African Americans should,
Indigenous-
or indigenous people should organize their own party?
Absolutely. Why not?
Okay.
Why not? I'm all for that. I'm all because the parties that we have that's in place don't work for us anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Even with progressives?
Even with progressive, they don't work for us. Because honestly, how can they speak to the needs of every individual that they supposedly representing? They can't.
Why
So,
can't they?
They can't because you don't know me personally. Like somebody came to, I'll give you a prime example. Somebody came to my house yesterday and I wished I'd answered the door in time because it was a guy who was running for, I don't know, Senate or something, I don't know what it was. He came and he lives in my neighborhood, so he put this thing on my door, this flyer, and I wish I answered the door because I was going to ask him, okay, you running to be a representative, do you know me? If you don't know me, how can you even represent me? But you asking me for my vote. Can you represent somebody you really don't know? You can't. And I don't need anybody to represent me in that regard. So I wanted to ask him that because I wanted to see his answer. Because you can't say I can represent all these people because they put me in this position. I'm not.
But I think, so when people are running, they are running collectively on the need of the community in the district. So they want to represent the community based on a collective need. So it's not personally knowing each person, but it's more so collectively understanding what the need is for the community. Now, I don't believe that every candidate or politician understands that or gets that, and then there are people who have their own agenda, but collectively, I do agree you should not run if you collectively do not understand the need of the community, and you definitely shouldn't be running if you and not understanding the position you're running for. Like if you are running for Congress and on behalf of the fact that there's a food desert in Southern Dallas, that they're not voting for Kroger's to be in Oak Cliff.
Right.
You probably need to run for something else. So I do have a problem with that. Not really understanding what you're running for and how that role you are running for plays in the community. Now I have a problem with that, but I can't say you don't have to know me personally.
Yeah, you do.
But you need to know the need of where I'm living. Collectively, you need to understand.
But how are you going to know that if you're not talking to the individuals?
Well, that's why he knocked on your door.
Yeah, to leave me a flyer.
No, no, he did not. You didn't get to the door.
But my deal is there's like you just said, like a community. The community is made up of a collection of individuals, and in all those individuals are different from the next individual. So you can't say because we're all like everybody in my community that I live in right now, we all don't have the same needs.
Right.
Because we all look
there is
different.
One need.
Yeah.
Collectively.
We have one thing in common.
What is the one thing your community has in common?
Keep our neighborhood nice.
Okay.
That's it.
So if he said, I'm here to run and keep the neighborhood nice, collectively, that's what y'all want.
But if you're running for state representative.
Okay. It's still to keep your neighborhood nice. He still has understood that need upon you all collectively. Now, you may have some individual needs.
Man.
And I mean, that it is what it is. I don't know how that works. I say that works to the highest bidder. And if you're not a donor, good luck with that. Let me know how that works.
I mean, I can represent, put it like this, I can represent, say, my kids, right? It's just because I know them. They're mine. I know them, and I know how they operate, right? I know what they need. That's what I mean. Like, as a representative, how can you know those, like, things? You can't. So
you think anyone running or any elected official should, like, know each person in their district or...
Yeah. I want you to work hard for my vote. That's how I look at it. If you really about
I think
that,
you should
what's
work
hard
hard for the vote, but I don't know how possible that is.
The same way they do for the census. They go around, knock on everybody's door. Well, come on, census people around, knock on my door and talk to me about, I ain't gonna tell you his name. This guy that's running for the Senate. I'm not just.
Okay, we not naming no names.
I'm not gonna name him, but if he drop another flyer on my door, I will. That's two flyers.
If he drops another flyer and you don't answer the door, you don't want him to know who you are.
That's 2 flyers that he done dropped on my door.
Oh my goodness.
So that's 2. Hey, 3's gonna get you called out.
What? Why?
Because if I didn't answer the door the first 2 times.
Well, then you don't want to get to know him.
Because if I don't expect people coming to my house, no, I don't answer the door. I ain't even lie. I don't care if it's FedEx. I don't care if it's Amazon. I don't care if it's one of my family members. If I ain't expecting you, chances are I'm not going to answer the door.
Here's the thing. No, you're not going to answer that. But that doesn't mean he did not extend an olive branch. Like, he knocked on your door.
But if you have a sign say no solicitation.
So what should he do? Call and be like, hey, I'm coming?
If I have a sign say no soliciting, right? That means anything.
He's breaking the law.
Anything. That means anything you coming up there. I don't want you
know who this person is. I don't want. But at the end of the day, you can't hold him accountable when you are not meeting the person halfway. I mean, he knocked on your door.
No, I just understand. That's why I say this, and I know y'all. I know it may seem like we're arguing, but we're not. And so why I say these things is because I when I say understand the game, I understand the game, right? And I understand that a lot of stuff that we've been taught is just wrong, and we have to undo these things. So I ask questions according to what I was taught. Right, so if somebody come to my door and they tell me you're a representative, and if I look up the definition of what a representative is, then how? I want to understand how can you represent me when you don't know me? Really, you can understand the needs of my community, but me as an individual, that's not possible unless you sit down spending time with me. That's the only way you can do that.
Well, I mean, he did knock on your door.
He wasn't gonna spend that much time. He was gonna give me a whole.
Well, we won't know until he knocks on your door again.
And if he do. 3rd time's the charm. His name will be called.
I'm just saying, like, yeah, he is apparently trying to get to know you and your needs by knocking on your door.
He's a neighbor, and he's been seeing us in the neighborhood. I can say that.
I think this is personal, but
it's not personal.
No, I'm just kidding. But I do understand. I don't see how anyone can get to know everyone in their district, especially if they have a large district. But I do feel like you definitely really need to understand collectively what the demands are if you are running. Even as a judge, you have to know what the need is for us in making a fair decision in anyone's case, and not being judgmental based on race, religion, and all the other things. So I understand. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. Please give us a call at...
I don't know the number again. It's 214 556 6239.
214-556-6239. I hope you all are enjoying. We're having a good time. I knew Bethel was going to be this way. This is why he's good at what he does. All right, we'll see y'all in a minute.
For the love of money. Gotta get on the grind, giving it up to the 9-9. If you still can shout, it fall in the nighttime. Gotta get mine, ain't taking no shot on the louse and top of the phone. Call up my homie, Tave at home, polishing this Mac 10 Chrome. Got a lick, we can it to quarter click this once again in the time. Put it down with a flip of bird, my way to the curb, so I swerve and roll out. To pick up the rest of my dudes, they sprayed on the mission for counting up more now. Joe, when it hit the bump, gonna ride like every day with 4 more thugs. I'm a bro with it, stroll it till we end up in the grave and lane. Put it in the drop lane, we spotted the place and quickly rolled up. Gotta make that money, man. Hopped out of the ride, see flesh, then showed up. Fucking at the boom, so drop it on down with them into the room, them dumb. And I'm shaking the dice and hit them in naturals on them fools, and I'm looking lovely. Yeah, better not think it's funny. I'm coming up quicker than 9 quarts, cause flesh be loving this money.
I'm giving up love to the hustlers, all them sack that busters, making that money, stand on your feet. And you better believe, gotta have that cheese for the green leaves, never catch me sleep. Steady on this grind, get mine, stand down from a crime, and I hit up the 99. Gotta keep that bankroll, making me say, yo, these nickels and dime. Hit up a stick up, a lick up that 211. Gotta get what's mine, been failing. Been kicking up dust, I'm trailing, failing 1 and 7. That's how it is, and I got to have it in the night. What? Mission to check a meal, to still be real, thugging on the clock, like creeping on the come up. Won't sleep till I'm done up, gotta blaze my gun up. Hunt up another plot and scheme, gotta make some drink, so nut up, what up? Gotta get that business on, even though the Buddha run me, done me feeling lovely, but I'm just in it for the love of the money.
Standing on the corner, straight slanging rocks. Oh man, here comes a crooked ass cop. So I dash, I ducks, and I hide behind a tree, making sure the popos don't see me. Now my fat sack of rocks, hell yeah, I stuffed them. Police on my drawers, I had to pause, and yeah, I still don't trust them. Now my game is tight, tight as hell is my game. Easy E, CPT or Eric Wright, it's all the same. Now those might trip on how I stacks my grips. I got to have it, yeah, for the love of this stupid sucker. Been talking me thugs to thuggish ways. Up on my crime every time. Follow me down the 99, and you will find all of me kind. Check out the rips to now. Drop down, run them up and I make hood ribs. Check when I make it, make grip. When I make click, while I'm with ruthless. The thug I baby. Put them in mud, buck them in pump up for the love of money. With nothing to lose, rolling with troops, rolling with thugs, it's going down. Spinning pumping 3 rounds, running with a make gang, bang. Gonna make that money, made. It's still the same, steady running things right. It's following now. Well, I take you up into the dark side of me, run. See, put it up, get done for the bud. I run it up on my brain. Up in the stuck game, so people's me creeping, me crawling up on the machine back in the days. Crazy was dealing with thugs.
All right. We are back. We are talking about sports, politics, and we will get into New Year's resolutions, or more so, what people will be intentional about 2022. We left off with talking about how Bethel believes that every candidate should know everyone personally. I feel like that's impossible. But what I do feel like a candidate should know the role that they are running for. I recently was able to listen to Monday Night Politics, and for District 30, the congressional seat in District 30, and there's about, I think, 9 people running. Now, I'm going to say I was thoroughly impressed with Jane Hope Hamilton, because when the questions were asked about certain things, be it infrastructure or jobs, she could explain what Congress does, how they do it, and how it trickles down to each district, and why, if she was in office, this is what would happen. Whereas everyone else just agreed with the need or the demand. And I think you have to understand how things work in order to be effective in the role that you're running for. So, yeah, I really was impressed with that.
Yeah, speaking of Jane is cool. She's one of the people that actually talks to people. So, I mean, that's a different... I've had a conversation with her, so she's, the guy didn't go through that step. She did. She went through the step. So having a conversation with the person, or multiple conversations with them, allows them to get to know you, so they could be a representative. Like, they know you. They know the individuals that they're actually representing. I get what you're saying as far as it's impossible. I won't say it's impossible because they do it every 10 years with the census. But I would say that to have, conversations with people to get to understand and pick their brains about their plan. I mean, for somebody to lay it out honestly with you, you can't ask for more than that. Like, some people, like you said, they got to know what they're running for or what the job requires. And I would say Jane knows what the job requires.
And I say this to say, because I have a very, and I'm not going to, I don't know if I should say his name. I'm not gonna say his name. A client who is on ESPN, and he posted in support of a candidate, and it was like 12 people in the race, and this was in Louisiana. And I had to explain to him like why he had to take it down and all this other stuff. Not that the candidate he was supporting was bad or not good, but the candidate didn't even know what the role he was running for. Like, this candidate should have just ran for like city council or mayor,
right,
not for Congress. And the truth of the matter, because of that, my client, he was like, wow, I didn't even think about that. I didn't even know. And it's like, understand, what you're putting your name behind and what you are supporting. But whoever you decide to support and whoever you put your name behind, understand that that person needs to be someone that you can legitimately say can be a strong representative. And especially when there's 12 to 9, 20 people in the race, everybody believes that they are the candidate. Now, Lord knows I don't know why that is, because I have met a lot of candidates. I'm thinking, you have no idea what you're doing. And so I encourage people, I know you want them to know you personally, but I need you to understand the job and the role effectively. I need you to know that like the back of your hand. Because if you don't know that, knowing me personally, we ain't going to do nothing. Ain't nothing going to happen.
That is true. But like, if you, for instance, I know Congress is legislation. We're talking about, say, for instance, like the guy that comes by my house. Right. His issue is, I'm going to give you an example of what I mean by that. His issue is going to be different than my issue. And the person next door to me, their issue is going to be different than the issue that I have, and so forth and so on. And so if you want to know what my issues are, right, honestly, if you want to know my issues about, our community or whatever, then, yeah, like I said, I'm going to answer the door. I am. Because I'm going to just expect him to come back.
We still don't know if this man really wanted to know, because you have not answered the door.
Yeah, I have not. That's why I didn't continue to have the story. I didn't continue the story because I have not answered the door for this person. He just catch me at the wrong time. I don't feel like talking. And if you come to if I talk to you in that energy, you are not going to, it's not going to turn out well. If I don't feel like talking.
Well, he don't know you, so he don't know when you're in a good mood.
So if you come around early in the morning and passing out flyers, that is not a good time to come and pass out flyers.
Whoever this is, please come in the afternoon when he feels like talking, because morning is not a good time. He's not a morning person. That's all I can say when it comes to that. With that being said, I noticed the NFL did have a campaign for voting, a voting campaign, registration to vote. And what I found very alarming is the lack of education with the players on voting, because just because you play for Arizona doesn't mean you are a resident of Arizona. So there's such thing as absentee ballots and having that, filling that out and sending it back in. Being a registered voter and things of that nature. It's not, and how I know about this is because I did have a player ask me, could I look up where he should go vote in Cincinnati? And I said, are you a resident of Cincinnati? He said, well, I have a condo here, but I have a house in California. You're probably a resident in California.
Yeah.
So he's a resident in California, thinking he can vote in Cincinnati, and that's not how that works. He needed a whole absentee ballot. Now, his attitude is, how I'm supposed to do all this, go to practice, study film, and be a citizen. And the reality is, it all can be done, but someone has to educate you on it. And that's the whole thing. I am big on not checking the box. Don't just tell people to vote. Tell them how they should vote, why they should, especially your rookies. They don't know. They definitely are not a resident of where they just got drafted to. And for you not to inform them on where, how to be a productive citizen in their community, and not with just their nonprofit. Of course not. But I'm blasting it because they did make it seem like it was because it was a campaign.
I could have told you that. Like,
Well, I know.
they don't care. Like, listen, I'm gonna say this clearly, man. The NFL absolutely does not care. Nothing impacts their bottom line. If it's not impacting their bottom line, they don't care. That's just what it is. The only reason why it don't impact their bottom line, so it doesn't matter to them. They'll check a box because, like, for instance, the Cowboys can go 0-17, right? People still go show up to the game.
Oh,
Jerry Jones, they still making money. Jerry Jones ain't finna change nothing. He ain't finna step out of his position as the GM and owner because the people are still buying tickets. Right. As long as people still buying tickets to the games and stuff like that, the NFL don't care. They just go do what they have to do to make themselves look like they participating in something, acting like they care. There's a difference. They don't care.
Well, I feel like, yes, they may not care, but we need to care. You know, and so understanding that someone else doesn't care doesn't mean that I shouldn't, you know, do my part in better educating and putting out information.
But I think we shouldn't even expect institutions like that to even. We shouldn't even expect anything out of them like that. We just shouldn't. I think we give those institutions way too much power when it's something that we can do ourselves. Like the institution exists because of the players, period. But if they're not choosing to educate them on voting, they're not. I'm telling you, they're not.
Well,
they don't care.
Okay.
They don't care. I'm telling you, they just.
Don't.
They make money. They making billions and billions of dollars a year. Even in a down year, even in 2020, they still made billions of dollars. So if it's not impacting the bottom line, there's no reason to change courses. They're gonna stay the course that's been making them money.
Right. Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, I know you're right, and I would, am very optimistic. Unlike
you shouldn't be because listen. I don't know too many former players, honestly, who now I may be speaking. I'm gonna be 100. I have a disdain for the NFL because I know how they play. The game is just dirty. And you can ask some of the some of the greats. You can ask Lawrence Taylor. You can ask Eric Dickerson. You can ask anybody, really, that, just about anybody that play. They have a disdain for the game that they played, the sport that they love. In that institution of the NFL, it changes that because it's all business there. So, yeah.
But I think the disdain is not only it's our business there, but then you realize it was our business from the beginning. Because in high school, you got to win games. In college, you got to win games. Coaches are not there to lose. You're not getting $95 million over 5 years at LSU to lose. And this is not about loving the players. This is about winning.
Yeah, but it's their money guaranteed.
So I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that once you leave voluntarily or involuntarily from the game, you recognize there was no real authenticity come college. I tell people all the time, by the time you hit college, it's a business. I mean, it has nothing to do with you, nothing else. And everyone loves you like a son, like a this and a that. But understand that is not thee. And so in that sense, when you leave, you recognize that all the things that were poured into you, all the celebration, all the love, all the excitement was based on one thing. Like you say, what you can do, not who you are. Remember?
Yeah. But my business partner wrote a great book about this, a few years ago. It's called Warning Professional Sports Don't Make Millionaires. And it's a good book, and it's a quick read. And I think every kid, before entering into this game, or while you playing this game, get it early. I wish I had that book in high school because it would have prepared me for what was to come in college, what to expect in the pros. Because a lot of these kids are going to be first generation, whatever, college, pro. I was first generation, everything. So it's just like, okay, if I'm the first generation doing this, then I wish I had some guidance. And that book is a good tool to have, at your disposal because he lays a lot of nuggets in there. It's a lot of game in there, stuff I wish I had known prior to going pro because the NFL honestly made me not love the sport the way I did as a kid. It made me lose the love I had for it that drove me to make it to that level, as a kid. It made me lose it because, again, it's a lot of politics and a lot of business that you don't understand as a kid. You just don't. And you walk into that world, and it's like, man, what the hell is, what wait a minute. This is what, I didn't like it. And I got drafted to New England, and, you know, I didn't have a problem with them. I just had a problem with my receiver coach. Again, it goes back to understanding it goes back to understanding. Like, if my receiver coach, I'm going to tell you, when I came out, the coach that I wanted to play for was George Stewart. Mm-hmm. He was in Atlanta. He was at the Atlanta Falcons, and I didn't get drafted by them. New England skipped up to draft me. He skipped up past them, Arizona, to draft me. But I wanted to be in Atlanta with a coach that looked like me, because I came out of Texas A&M. My coach looked like me. Coach Sumlin. He was my receiver coach, and he was our offensive coordinator. So what he did was, my senior year, he understood. We had understanding. We understood each other. We could relate to each other. So when he told me, hey, Bethel, go in there and crack that linebacker right here on this play, I'm finna go in here and knock this man's shoes off. Mm-hmm. Because he and I had an understanding. We knew we had understanding. But you get to the NFL, then you get this coach who's a year older than you.
Wow.
Right? You get a coach that's a year older than you, talking to you like you his child. I'm a hood dude all day, every day. This is where the understanding come in at. Me and my receiver coach had an understanding in college, because he understood where I came from, because he can relate to it. He like, okay, I understand I can't approach him this way because he come from these type of environment. That's where I have the issue with the hiring process in the NFL, because if they had more indigenous coaches, what they want to call them black or African American, if they had more of those coaches, then there would be less behavior issues, I feel, that will be going on in the NFL outside, and off the field or whatever, because you have somebody that's relatable to you, coaching you through these things or talking you through life, as a young rookie.
Okay, can someone argue that? I mean, Antonio Brown played for the Steelers, and I mean, he had some issues with Mike Tomlin. Mm-hmm. And the argument is he had a black coach. What was the problem then?
Yeah. He ain't been the same since he got hit in Cincinnati.
Okay, yeah.
He ain't been the same since. Mm-hmm. All these issues started coming up really after he took the hit. I can't remember if it was Burfict or if it was Trevathan. Mm-hmm. Knocked him out. And he ain't been the same since.
And the thing is, no one's addressed that, because it's like, we're paying you, so.
Yeah, you think because you're paying me that I have to. We're good at masking these things, right? Every player, I'm telling y'all this, every player that I know have left the game with PTSD or CTE or a combination of both, right? You have those. People have those. They walk around here every day, and you just don't know it.
But I think they act out. And with PTSD, and I'm gonna do this, and I don't know what's gonna happen after this show, but PTSD comes from the fact that not only are you playing this violent sport, but some of the things you're living in your everyday life. I've been with Bethel. You've been my client for 8 years, but it was 2 years ago that I found out that you got shot in the neck at 14.
Yeah. But those are, again.
So that's trauma.
It is. I grew up in a lot of trauma, though, and a lot of us do.
Understandings, but as African Americans, Black people, we are taught, get through it, and so you get through it because your end goal is to go to the NFL. Yeah. So you survive. You didn't get shot in the elbow. Mm-mm. Or the pinky toe.
Nope.
In the neck, and you still. So you don't, at 14, did you even really deal with that?
Not properly. I don't think, I dealt with it in the sense of, I took what I had that was in my environment to deal with it. In the sense, what I mean by that is, I could have retaliated at 14 years old. Think about this grown environment that I'm in at 14 years old. Mm-hmm. I get shot by a 13-year-old, right? Mm-hmm. And then now me at 14 in the hospital, I'm looking at my mom. As soon as I wake up, the first thing I said, I swear to God, I'm going to kill him when I get out of here. Mm-hmm. My mama knew the way I was living back then, mm-hmm. that was the truth. Mm-hmm. That was going to happen. Mm-hmm. My mama saved that dude because my mom said, hey, you know, she gave me some church stuff, and I kind of got off of it. But you just never really had anyone. No one understood why when someone say, "Hey," because I got into it with one of my teammates my freshman year at Texas A&M. He said, "Hey," he said, "Man, I'm gonna kill you." To me, you can't say those things,
right?
Because the dude that shot me was supposed to be a friend. And so it's like when you said that to me, it triggered me. Like, hey, well, I told my homeboy that was driving the car, pull the car over right now. We finna go at it right now. We finna fight right now. I said, you finna have to show me, pull this car over. And when he pulled the car, he was like, hey, no, I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about on the football field. I said, dude, well, you better make it clear.
So there are triggers that we don't deal with. And then on top of the activity and action of the game, that can be a trigger as well.
Yeah, and then somebody put it like this: guys walk away from the game, whether they walk out on their own volition or they're let go. You still deal with the trauma of that because now you got to adjust to life, right? We've been playing a game as a childhood game into our adulthood. We never had to deal with real life situations, really, because everything is really everything as a professional is surreal. Right, you got everybody doing stuff for you. You know, people want to be next to you. You this, that, and the other. But then when the game is over, now you got to go into life and deal with what everybody else has been dealing with this whole time you've been playing this game. And that's not an adjustment that they don't even give you a class for this. It's just like, hey, you're done. Kind of like the military. You're done. Go back out there. Go. There's no psych eval of how to bring people back because as a gladiator, you have to be up the entire time. And for me, my rookie year, Charlie White said something to us. He said, guys, give yourself an hour when you come home. Give yourself an hour. He said, because you're here all day. You up all day. Your testosterone is up all day. You going against this dudes all day. He said, but when you come home, take an hour for yourself so you can bring yourself to center, bring yourself down. What he was saying was, guys, don't go home and get into it with your wife because you've been up here all day. Take an hour by yourself, decompress, so you can engage. Because other than that, you hear we stay up here. We stay up here. And people don't understand that we stay up here until there's no bringing you out of that, right? Until it's really over. And then that's why I struggled for all those years. Because when it was really over, I had to figure out how to calm down. And I didn't have any help in that situation. I just had to figure it out. And unfortunately, I did.
Yeah. He's still figuring it out, you guys.
I have to, listen, man, I go to therapy. This is one thing I tell these cats, man. You're not strong as you think you are. Go to therapy, man. Like, don't be out here just lost. Go to therapy, right? I met me at 36. That let me know that, hey, when I met me, I had some work to do. So there it is. Like, I had to go to therapy, man, because I wanted to know why certain things were, why I was triggered so easily by certain things. I wanted to know these things. And I'm still in therapy.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing to know is that when you don't deal with something, it shows up in other ways, which causes those things to be triggered. So you have to understand what triggers you and why it triggers you, because we are very good at moving forward and disconnecting or avoiding traumas that happen in our life just to get to whatever our end goal is. And I think it's very important. So I commend you on that. And I think that's something that we definitely have to, I think that's something that has to be talked about a lot more, because it's not just the game, but it's the environment. You don't know. I mean, Des Bryant talked about, his mom and all those things. And then being, birthed at a young age, your mom, I can't imagine having a kid at 14 or 15. I don't even know what that looks like. But so a kid raising a kid, and everybody is doing the best they can with the information they have.
Right.
And even though it may be bad information, it's all they have. And I know we talk about breaking cycles and generational curses, but those things have to be identified. You have to know what that looks like to evolve, grow, learn, and heal, wounds. So with that being said, we're going to, on a lighter note, we are going to get into this last segment about New Year's commitments.
Lola's
resolutions.
commitments this year.
I do. This year, I definitely have one. We're going to take a quick 5-minute break. We're
5 minutes? That's a long break.
I know.
I don't need no 5 minutes.
Not quick break. But a quick break, not too long. And be ready for, we'll be talking about that. Mine, I will tell everyone.
Right, they're saying so be it. Take 5.
Mine is to be intentional in my dating life. So I've actually joined a dating site.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. All right, man. We're going to take 5.
We're going to take 5.
Now available, T.H. Moore's newest novel, titled I Am, follows a young African-American couple who are forced to pick up the pieces of their marriage after the violent loss of their young godson at the hands of a local white policeman. The loss sparks not only their community's anger, but also the rage of a vigilante who initiates a nationwide killing spree targeted at corrupt police officers. New York Times best-selling author Omar Tyree praises T.H. Moore's new novel as an audacious story and read. Dr. Christopher C. Irving, CEO of the Miller Institute for Leadership and Diversity in America, calls it a daring story. I Am by T.H. Moore, now available at Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, and at thmoore.com.
At this Bible as I keep glancing. Dear Lord, I got questions and I need answers. Trying to understand your vision, all I see is damage. Just a bunch of dead bodies in the street camping. A bunch of lost souls on their feet standing. We supposed to be your children, I thought we family. You supposed to be my father, bro, I need answers. We don't need to die young, we just need chances. Tired of living on the edge, so we keep scrambling. Trying to talk to these strippers, but they keep dancing. We just want me number one like Steve Francis. Bow our heads, saying praying, now the seeds planted. Everywhere I turn, I'm seeing MCs vanish. A lot of good niggas gone, I don't understand it. A lot of families lost and they seeds stranded. I ain't trying to disrespect you, I just need answers. I know you watching us from heaven, thinking who to save. Cherry picking who should go next and who should stay. I'd be on my way to heaven if I knew the way. And bring back every good nigga you choose to take. They say you never wrong, but you done made a few mistakes. Cause you taking the wrong niggas, maybe you should trade. Trade us back all the real ones, remove the fakes. I think you should trade. Give us 2 pop back and take that nigga shook. Let the legend resurrect that he gon' live for good. I be screaming thug life in every different hood. If only you can bring him back, Lord, I wish you would. Give us Biggie, give us Pun, give us Triple X. Take that nigga Trump with you, that's a bigger threat. There's too much power for a coward with no intellect. That's a bigger with a collar, there's a disconnect. Niggas dying, mama crying, grandma need a tissue. Niggas shooting up a church, now I need a pistol. All them niggas still living, you don't see the issue. But how you take a leader, then you take a leader with you. I ain't trying to disrespect, just need a meter with you. I ain't trying to overstep, just want a reason with you. Give us back our loved ones and take the evil with you. Send them suckers straight to hell, they don't need a vigil. I need you to give us back Martin Luther. Take Martin Shkreli, give us back Malcolm.
Okay, well, we are back. And thanks for tuning in. Tell a friend. We're still here for a few minutes. So it's 2022. I am 41 years old.
Don't tell nobody that.
But I don't look a day over 25 to me. Anyway, this year I have decided that I am going to be more intentional in my personal life. And what I mean by that is because I do work for myself, I tend to work more than enjoy life. Because when you work for yourself, I mean, you sometimes are everything. And this year, I want to be intentional. So with that being said, I am single, and I have joined a dating site.
That what it is. I guess that's what it is nowadays.
I mean, and so And so I want to be intentional. I really want to go on more dates. I want to, eventually get married and definitely have at least a child or children. And so I understand that, my biological clock is what it is, and maybe I played around too long. But yes, so this year I am being very intentional. I have just joined a dating site because they have not given any advertising dollars. I'm not going to say which one.
You going to make me turn to Bevan Samuels.
Who is Bevan Samuels?
There's a Kevin Samuels. My name starts with a B, so it'd be Bevan Samuels.
That guy.
Yeah.
No,
y'all be hating on Kevin Samuels, Mr. Samuels, man.
I think he is so. He's
what?
like,
Because he tell the truth. He tell the truth. He do. I don't watch his videos, but I've seen some reactions. He tell the truth now.
Well, so with that being said, my expectation. So okay, I've only been on the site for a week. It's really hard to so you swipe left and right, and that's the majority of the sites. It is definitely not encouraging so far, but I'm making the most of it. I'm really working on my attention span. I don't like that, hey, what's up? And then I say, oh, I'm good, how are you? And then there's this, I don't like that because I'll forget that we text and 2 days later go back and say, oh, he responded to something. So I'm working on that to be, focused maybe?
That's what you call it? Focused?
Bethel's been married. So Bethel's wife is amazing. Shout out to Heather. They've been married for 12 years, and they have a very, very good, strong relationship. I really admired it since we have worked together, and they work as a team. And so I'm going to be open today to taking some relationship advice. Jesus.
But the thing about it is, whatever I say to you, my wife can verify that I say the same thing to her.
Right. So, yeah, I get for all of us who have become very intentional in our dating life. Oh, we have a caller.
Hey.
Hi. It is the original Black Tea Sip star, Coy. What's going on?
So I am so appreciative for this sip. It's got a lot of good information. This has been funny. It's given me a few little chuckles, little hee-hees, ha-has here and there. But it's been great information, so I appreciate you all coming on and pouring this tea. But I thought I would call because Lola said she was going to be more intentional in her dating life. And that made me stop doing what I was doing and call in today. So I just have one quick question. Since you are going to be more intentional in your dating life, and you said you joined a dating site, I just want to know, my son's in the background talking about, oh, no. So I just want to know, what is your list? Like, how are you making up your list, Lola?
Oh, okay. The list. Okay.
I love this one. I love this one.
So for me,
I love this. I love this one.
Okay. Of course, he's already gonna say something. But
I am.
God-fearing.
Oh my God.
Charming. Very smart. I do want him to be financially wise. So it doesn't mean a millionaire, but it means that you know how to budget your money and the lights are going to be on. I don't want to be worried about stuff we're not 40 still trying to impress people that have no value to us. So that I would I'm 5'4", so anyone 6'2" and over, love that tall.
Okay, see, I knew it was coming. I love
this one. I love this.
I'm saying all of this to say this is my list, right? But I am open. So I'm not saying if they don't fit these criteria, it's a no. I mean, there are some make or breaks, and that's a team player. So very supportive in what I do and receives the support that I give them in what they do. Definitely fun. I talk a lot, obviously, as you can tell, but I would like for them to, like, not talk as much as me so I can get my point across.
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
Wow.
It's the list for me. I already know when they start talking about, their dating and they're more intentional, because to me, if you're going to be intentional in your dating, then I don't think you ought to settle, but I don't think that you ought to be box checking.
Right.
So, it's no secret that I'm a divorcee, and I've been dating the same man for over 3 years since I've been divorced. And a lot of my boxes were checked. But I met him, and he had already seen me the week before at the Prairie View Grambling. You see how I always put Prairie View first? Prairie View Grambling tailgate. Mm-hmm. And then I saw him the next week, and I had no recollection of him because I didn't meet him. He saw me from afar, and it was like, oh, my God, there she is. And we just started laughing and talking. He was not necessarily, quote-unquote, my type, but he had great conversation, and he was funny, and it was witty, and we developed a friendship. But he wasn't necessarily my type. He did not, when I started checking boxes, if that was where I was, then, I can't say all of them would have been checked. I can't, because I never sat down and composed, because you're not composing a heart list. You're composing a aesthetic list.
Mm-hmm. That's what
even when they say, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I said that's what y'all usually lead with, because I think y'all have this, and this is the thing.
Wait a minute. You don't say y'all. You mean them?
I'm talking about. I'm just talking about, like, when I talk to our women, right, in my community. So if you think about it,
the same man that won't open the door for a candidate.
I won't. But what I'm saying is, like, Disney has sold our women a dream. Disney has made our women feel like they can have it all, and that's just not what it is. What the reality is, so for example, in Atlanta, it's 17-1 right now. 17 women to every one man in Atlanta right now, right? So if the roles are reversed, and if it was 17 men to every one woman, men would compete for that woman. Our women don't compete; they choose not to. And that's just in Atlanta. But globally, it's like 7-1. We are outnumbered as men, which means that the ball is the control is on our side. We don't never have to get married if we don't want to. We don't have to. We don't have to at all, because it's 7-1 here in America for sure.
Well, so yes.
So you got to give up some. So all this Disney dream stuff.
No, I don't know that you have to give up. But I think if you're intentional in your dating, then you're also open to exploring some ideas that you may not have had. And so I don't think, if you're 5'4", I'm 5'4", but I can be 5'9" on any given day. Please believe it.
Right.
So I think, when you say 6'2", well, when you're not in heels, he's bending down way high low, and you bending down. You have to get up real high, just to say have a great day and a kiss on the cheek. So does he really have to be 6'2"? No. So I just feel that some of that is aesthetically pleasing. I like the fact that you said that he has to be financially wise, not 6 figures. I want to say this for everybody.
6 figures is not a lot of money.
People say 6 figures as if they're saying 7 or 8 or 9. If you are single, man or woman, and you have 2 children, which is typically average, and you make $100,000 a year, you have $34,000, because each one of those children has $33,000. So you want a man or woman that makes 6 figures. She's going to bring home $34,000. That's what you're asking for. So it is a smart decision to stay someone that's financially wise and someone who's financially independent. Now, this is where it gets, a little something. Then I got to go because I got to do candidate work. I got to do political work. This is where people get screwed up. They say, "Yeah, I want a certain man that has a certain kind of living." Well, you really want him to be financially independent, and you want him to be financially wise because things happen. My ex-husband was the first black man in the state of Texas to own his own title and escrow company. No one else, everybody else was fee attorney offices. There are a lot of black attorneys that were getting offices where there was someone that didn't look like us telling them what to do about giving loans to people that look like us. So let's be clear, that was not his, was completely independent. And then the market went kaboom, and I'm using that as a technical term. He was financially independent and for a time financially wise. So you want someone who you're going to be able to get in a bunker with, and somebody who's going to fight through whatever the hard times are together. And that's the part that we leave out of our list. Someone that if they get down, they can actually get up, and you're willing to be there with them through the valley, not just the peaks.
Yeah.
So add that to your list.
Thank you. That is me. I got you.
Okay, all right. I'm signing off now. Thank y'all so much for the sip. We sip power to pour truth. And I thank y'all. I'm gone. All right, Duke.
All right. So she hit the nail on the head. What do you think? So Bethel has known me again for 8 years, and
I listen. I'm trying to get y'all the stats on this thing. The stats are not in y'all favor. Y'all got to figure this thing out.
So you're saying I'm doomed? Like I won't have a date?
Possibly. No, I'm not saying you won't date.
Oh wow.
I'm not I'm not saying you won't date. It's just that we have our women really have been sold a fairy tale. That's just not the reality of what's really true. It's just not. It just isn't. What you said, I want a man 6'2". You say, he don't have to. I know you're flexible on that. But 6'2", that's our 1%. He's in the 1% top.
And here again, the thing is, I'm open. I think more so it's chemistry, being able to gel, like have a conversation, having the same interests, and not all the same interests. Right. It may not be this, everything may not be the same.
Once you get through,
but enough for us to, want to be around each other, go to things together, things of that nature. Is what is more important than him being 6'5", because I really want him 6'4", but okay.
But this is the thing. What do men want?
But so you told me.
I gave you those 5, but it's more. If I listen change, but those are 5. But what do men really want? So
well, what do men want, Bethel? Tell us.
Man,
please give us the secrets.
There's a few. There's 5 main ones, but then there's some other ones that you can add. That's added.
Okay, so the 5 main ones is cooperation.
So
peace,
let me ask you peace. So let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I want us to understand. So you get in a relationship. When was the last time you was in a relationship and it was just peaceful? You brought that man peace.
Now I have been the peacemaker and have brought the peace.
Well, I understand I understand the last situation, but I'm talking about. This is a question that I'm asking the total.
Well, women, I don't know. When's the last time you brought peace? I don't think.
How familiar are you with it, though?
I'm very familiar with peace. Mm-hmm. I know what peace look like. I know what it feel like.
What does cooperation look like?
Support.
Mm-hmm.
Being a team player.
So then, what does respect look like?
Respecting the role and the person in the relationship. So as a man, I wouldn't clown someone publicly like, oh, you ain't this, or show someone else respect that I don't show my significant other, my husband or my boyfriend or whatever.
So these 5 things is peace, and you can put them in order, any order they want.
We didn't go through all of them.
I know. I'm gonna get to it. It's peace, respect, cooperation, support, and sex, right? Mm-hmm. All those things look different, but every man looks for that. But then there's also, when it comes to, because men are aesthetic, we visual first. Are they fit? Are they feminine? Are they, are they cooperating? Like that. These are all other things they add. Like, these are the things you bring to the table. Like, What do those mean? Those are important to these dudes, and because the numbers are on men's side, they don't have to sell. Dudes are not getting married like that. They're not. Think about it. Our women in our community get married at 26%. They're at 26%. Guess who the next lowest? White women at 54. Why? They double you. They at 54% of marriage, and we at 26% marriage. Where do we get? How we get here? So we got to think about all these things as like when you said intentional. That means that you're going to be thinking from a different level than what you have in the past. Meaning that you're going to approach that situation completely different than what you did in the past. For instance, now it's like, okay, I know dudes want these 5 things for sure. It's really like 7, but these 5 things for sure.
Well, if it's 7, then say 7. You're not helping anyone.
Peace, respect, cooperation, sport, sex, fit, feminine. That's it. We look at those things, right? Those 7 things for sure. I only use the 5, but 7 is for sure. So we look at those things, and so you're being intentional about, okay, how am I? If I'm going out there like that, now am I putting myself in the place to compete? Because again, like I said, in Atlanta, it's 17-1. If you choose not, if it's 17 women to every 1 man, men don't have to compete as much because they can get one. You can throw a rock, they'll stone throw away. But for that woman, it's 1 man for every 17 of them.
I live in Dallas. I don't
it's
have to
7 to 1. It's 7 to 1
area.
across this entire country. It's 7 to 1. Even a dude on the corner who ain't got nothing, it's 7 to 1 for him. Imagine a man with money. It goes up from there. Now his options are 20 to 1. It goes up for a man with money. But a man without money, he's still at 7 to 1. I've seen a homeless man with a dog and a woman 2 days ago.
I don't know how this is helping me.
I'm just saying, man.
You are definitely a pessimistic about this.
I am.
And not optimistic.
I am not.
No, because you keep talking about the rate and not you.
Because we have work to do.
So you gave me the 7 things, and then you still go back to how many people? I guess I, as a single person, am competing with.
You are competing.
And then I'm older, but as for me, Lola, I do think that I'm a great catch, and I do think that I'm not worried about the 7. It's kind of like even in football. I mean, all these kids go to all these Division I schools. Everybody ain't getting drafted.
You still compete, though.
But you're still competing. But you have to compete with. But you are making sure you are the best that you can be.
If you know,
in order to get to that level,
Lo,
right?
to your point, you just said the NFL. If you know that you competing against thousands and thousands of other guys, then you gonna have to go out and compete at a level that's gonna separate you from everybody. Like, you gotta go do that. What are you doing that's gonna separate you in the market from all these other women? You gotta figure those things out. Like, what am I doing differently? My approach is listen to the men. The men are telling y'all exactly what we want, but yet here we get what we are getting is.
So I want to tell you what you sound like to me. You're giving me the tools to
I'm
compete.
trying to give you solutions.
And I appreciate it. I'm taking these down. Mm-hmm. After you give me the tools, then you're saying, however, it's 7 to 1. So it's like,
I'm saying
these
compete.
are the tools. These are the tools that I need in order to be intentional and successful in my dating life. What does this have to do with the 7 to 1? And we have some. Is someone asking a question or something?
No, she said, "Wow, 17 to 1."
I mean, 17 to 1, and that's in Atlanta. We're not in Atlanta, but in the world, it's 7 to 1. So all of that being said, because in as much as you can get anybody, you still chose who you chose. And so
But the competition don't stop there either, though, Lo.
And I'm not saying it does. I'm not even. I'm okay. If these are the things that I need to be competitive, I don't want to keep hearing about the 7.
the numbers have to make sense to you so it register. Like I don't, it doesn't matter if you want to hear about it, but those are the facts that are out there. What are you going to do to separate yourself from the other? I don't
even know the 7 women I'm competing with. Who are these?
Any one of them. How do you separate yourself? If I told you peace, respect, cooperation, support, sex, fit, feminine.
And so me and the other 7 give that. What is the point?
How the other 7 giving that? That's why
I'm saying if they know that too, and they're all putting that in, what is the?
Well, how is it that in our community, our women that are getting married is 26%? If they all know this,
I don't know. I
so
don't know.
No, what you just said. They all know that. They all know this. Then why is it that we're getting married at 26%?
I'm giving an example stating that if we're 20. If my 7 that I'm competing with for whoever this guy is, shout out to you, boo. Love you. Can't wait to meet you.
She's being facetious, but I'm being real.
No, I'm just saying. Well, I don't understand. Like, okay, so they're 7-1. You're giving me the tools. I would prefer to talk about the tools and not the 7.
No, I'm going to talk about the whole picture.
Why are we talking about the 7?
Because that's important. Because until you register in your mind, you're not going to do the other things that's required to separate yourself from the other 7. You're just not going to do that. As long as you know that, I'm going to keep giving men this stuff that we're not even asking for. We're not, like I said, we're not asking for Brazilian butt lifts. We're not asking for super goofy, long ass, snuffleupagus ass eyelashes.
My God.
We're not asking for fake breasts. We're not asking for fake hair, teeth. We're not asking for any of this stuff. What we're asking for is peace, cooperation, support, sex, respect, feminine fit. That's all we're asking for. Especially men that have money. They can ask for these things and they can demand these things because they're the hot item. They're the hot item.
I don't think that these 7 things are unreasonable or unrealistic. Like, definitely feel like these are things that should be, are practical and should be, a no-brainer. That's not what I'm debating. I am concerned about keep going back to, well, and then you got 7, It's like, okay, but I would rather focus on me dating and, exuding the peace.
Right.
Displaying cooperation.
Right.
Not looking at the date like,
no.
Does she have cooperation?
No, nobody's asking. No, that's not what I'm saying to do. I'm not saying to do that. I'm not saying look at the other. No, just know that you're competing. I'm gonna give you a prime example. You brought up the NFL, so I'm gonna bring it back. When I was coming out my senior year, we have a code.
Keep going.
When I was coming out my senior year, right? Even in my junior year, I knew that I was competing against guys who were at schools that were way bigger than mine.
We're coming to your collar.
Huh?
There's a collar.
Oh, no. He was saying 5 minutes.
Okay.
So I knew that I was competing with somebody. If I'm at home resting, somebody out there putting that work in, they getting the edge on me where when it's time for draft, when the NFL come calling, they're going to go to the guy that's been putting in all the work. So for me, I knew I was in competition at all times. So I made sure that I was doing my part every single day. Whether I'm working out, I'm catching balls, running routes, I'm doing something every single day because I know I'm in competition with thousands of other guys who vying for 272 jobs. So I'm like, okay, how do I separate myself from them? I know I'm in competition, so I'm gonna work. I'm gonna do what I gotta do to make sure I get it.
Well, okay. So with that being said, we don't have much time. I definitely appreciate the advice. I'm going to be very intentional.
Tell Kamisha she can call me if she wanted me to know. She want to know, she can call me.
Okay. Yeah. Call him. Anyway, I'm going to be very, and so hopefully, I'm going to say this. I'm going to give myself 3 weeks. And
that's it?
The goal in the 3 weeks is that I at least go on one date. And we will evaluate if I am, putting the 7 things that were that men want into play in my being or whatever. And so I guess we'll track, this whole theory. So
She's got that theory.
Bethel is my dating coach. I don't know how
She
to
said
end good, and we'll see how that works.
This is real life.
This is real life. This is my real life.
Yeah.
And this is how intentional I am. I am getting a coach in dating so that I can be successful in my end goal, and we'll go from there. We'll see what this looks like. I definitely am going to take the 7 things very serious: peace, cooperation, respect,
Support,
fit,
sex,
sex,
that's it.
fit, and being feminine. I think I'm very feminine, and I try to do the best I can.
Ooh, you lucky we running out of time, because I will ask a question to find if that's true.
If I'm fit?
No, if you're feminine. Because I asked, because I what it is.
I mean, I don't dominate a man, and I'm not the independent, self-righteous person either.
Right. That's fine.
So, yeah. So, please, we are definitely going to come back in, I'm going to say 3 weeks, and we'll see where I'm at. Which Coach Bethel, and this probably will make him like highly sought after. So thank you.
No, do not come looking out to look for me. Don't come looking for me to coach nothing or none of that stuff. Lola's my client. I'm not client. She's a friend, and that's just what it is. So I'm not going to. I don't give my advice like that. I give it to people that I know that are my friends.
Well, we thank you all for tuning in. Coy will be back next week.
Hold on. Kamisha, get out of here. No.
Cam. Hey, Cam. Okay, that's my friend. But we have to go.
Yeah, no, we ain't got to go. We got. Listen,
Oh my God.
Kamisha, Cam, whoever you are.
Cam is my friend.
I'm going. Listen, yeah.
She's married. She's been married for 10 years.
Doesn't matter.
What?
Doesn't matter. We gonna have a conversation whenever
Lord,
we see each
Cam,
other.
what's going on?
We gonna have a conversation.
Okay. So we thank you all for tuning in. We will be back.
I didn't get to dive into all the stuff I was gonna dive into.
And we will be back on another episode.
She asking for tools, and she married.
Black T-Sip, and we'll talk soon. Thank you, guys.
All right, you melanated beauties, this is Coy with your Black Tea Sip every Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. where we sip power to pour truth. We talk about it all, the state of the Black Union, politics, entertainment, you, me, and everything in between. Join me on Fridays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. where we sip power to pour truth. Join me and we'll rap a taste about all the things that matter to me and to you. Coy with your Black Tea Sip, Diamonds, Pearls, and Jerry Curls. Looking forward to seeing you.
On FishbowlRadioNetwork.com. Jump in.